Africa now, small and medium-sized businesses in Kenya will benefit from increased access to long-term and attractive funding in local and foreign currency under a new €70 million lending scheme. Plutarchos Sakellaris, Vice President for Africa from the European Investment Bank, joins us now to discuss the importance of small business growth in the region. Thank you so very much, sir, for joining us. It's great to have you on the program. €70 million worth of funding.
Hello, Eleni.
For small to medium-sized enterprises. This is a very large amount. This is not the first time that you've actually headed into this region. You've had a very good experience before. Tell us about the new headway that you plan to make with this large funding agenda.
Yes, this is what we signed today is the first of a wave of initiatives that we have in line for Kenya. As you said, about 10 billion Kenyan shillings. We believe that there will be more banks lining up in the near few months. What these funds are to be used for, of course, is to finance small businesses expansion and improvements. And on top of that, we are also providing technical assistance to help the clients present better projects, lower risks for these banks. So this is something we are very much behind, and it will lead to very much needed private sector development in Kenya.
What's interesting to note, and when we keep talking about how affordable this funding is, so give us an indication of how you do plan to make it accessible to those that need it the most at the most attractive price.
Yes, I think what's really important for this funding is that it's going to be, of course, more affordable. It's going to be lower, lengthier maturities, several years. And very importantly, that it's going to be local currency. The exact rates, of course, is going to be decided by the partner banks themselves. But the fact that they have access to lower cost and sure funding from us is going to be extremely important for them to be able to pass on this low-cost funding to these banks,
will you be able
these SMEs.
Would you be able to divulge what the lending rate to these banks will be? I know that you're working with ABC Bank and Consolidated Bank as well. I mean, you've worked with them in the past. You're also looking at Cooperative Bank as well as Housing Finance and Faulu DTM.
Yeah. Yes, no, the actual lending rate that we charge the banks is something between us and them. We are not really divulging that, but can assure you that it's a very good one. And that's why the banks themselves are very interested.
Okay, so let's just touch on, I mean, you're focusing on small to medium-sized enterprises. You're also focusing on the very small businesses in Kenya, those that you believe would be able to create jobs and also make a significant impact to the economy. Tell us about the criteria, and obviously you'd be leaving that up predominantly to the banks, but I'm sure that you also have your own set of rules.
Yes. Well, our rules is that this is new investment, that this is productive investment, that these are good businesses. We have signed different instruments. One is for very, very low budget, let's say up to 5,000 euros for the investment. So we're talking really very small entrepreneurs there. And we have another instrument which is for bigger investments. It's for sectors that make a difference for the Kenyan economy. It's for tourism, it's for industry, agriculture, agribusiness, health, schooling, and so on. And it's actually what the Kenyan economy really needs right now. It needs private sector development, and we believe that this will help our partner banks to provide this financing, which is very much missing in many cases for these small businesses.
I mean, we're talking about thousands of companies that could actually benefit from this. I mean, what kind of number do you have in mind?
Indeed. I mean, I think that from what we signed today, again, 10 billion Kenyan shillings, we would see 4,000 to 5,000 companies eventually benefiting. We have, as we said, more credit lines lined up for the rest of the year. We will see even more. I think that this is not indeed, the amount that will save the Kenyan economy, but it's definitely a very important contribution towards making these businesses grow, provide the employment, the growth that is necessary here.
Tell us about why you actually launched this program in Kenya. I know you're planning to actually bring in other funding lines into other East African nations as well. I mean, is this just a strategic region for the European Investment Bank?
Yeah. Well, I think that, first of all, it's a strategic country for the region, for the East African region. Kenya is a big economy. It's a developing economy. It's an economy that has dealt with quite a few issues that were important for private sector development, and it's an economy that has a well-supervised and growing banking sector. This is a vote of confidence for the Kenyan economy, for the private sector development here, and also for the banking sector in Kenya.
Yeah. What about the European Investment Bank? I mean, what does it say about the fact that we're starting to see millions of euros being ploughed into Africa and perhaps into what has been in the past deemed as relatively risky? And I say this because when we see what is happening in the Eurozone and we see all the drama with regards to ensuring that there is funding to, assist some of those ailing countries in the region, it's quite interesting that we're seeing such a strong flow of cash coming through in Africa, even though it's just in the funding form, not so much aid.
Yes. Well, I would say that the funding form is even more important than the aid that is also very important. Let me remind you that we have been present as partners here in Africa for more than 40 years. We have been very present also in past years. I think it confirms the fact that both the European Investment Bank and the European Union is not inward looking in these times of crisis, as you rightly point out, within our union. We are extroverted, outward looking, and very much willing and eager to continue this partnership that we have with Africa, which I think is good, of course, for us in the European Union and for the African continent itself.
Mr. Sakellaris, thank you very much for your time, sir. Great to have you on the program.